at it. Oh, we'll have to give it a second. There we go. It's working. It worked. And let me turn down the volume because this game likes to scream in my ears. So this is my house. Oh wait, it's perfect lighting too. This is my house. You show it actually on stream. This is my house I finally built. I'm quite proud of it. I think it's a little ugly though. I feel like the colours are not what I'm going for. I did just unlock a new roof, so I can change it. We can change the roof and it will look so much better. And I'm thinking about a new like wall sort of like thing because I don't like this. But I do like the design of the house. I think it's pretty cute. Well, Harry's people can cancel for making a comment someone else doesn't agree with and they have a total meltdown if they don't get their way. Cancel culture is awkward, in my opinion. I feel like it's very difficult to kind of just to keep up with things is difficult. Like, oh, this person did this, don't watch this thing. I'm like, what? I have to like keep a list. And I get it. Like, you know, but I'm definitely I definitely agree. Do they have bulldozers in that game? They have a demolish thing you can do. Oh my god, hang on. Sorry, I have a cough. They do have this that I will show you, Tony. Hello, Grace. I love this game. I love this game. I'm obsessed with this game. Have you been playing since day one? I'm obsessed. I've only missed like one day. And it wasn't like I missed playing it all. I just like didn't log in to do quests. But yeah, when I say I'm obsessed, I think I must have like I think I have 25 hours on PC and then like 10 hours in the official launcher and like 10 plus on my iPad. Started a few days after DG18. I don't even know what level I am. Hang on. Let me have a look. This is, I don't know if they have like a full-blown bulldozer, but they have this like tool that you can like remove things with and I am not touching it. I don't want to touch it because I don't want to delete anything. What DG level am I? Let's look. Oh, wrong thing. Oh, I'm 18. What did I miss? I must have missed more than one day. Well, we're the same level. All good though, I think. We did just unlock the new roofs that I really want though. So I'm really happy with that because I do not like this roof. It is so ugly. I actually can't stand it. So I think we're actually going to go and change it because I don't like it at all. So let me see if I can change this without destroying my house. This should be fun. You guys get to watch this. Also, if anyone is struggling with decorating in this game and you're on PC, now on iPad it's probably a little bit easier. On PC, the like movement of things, like it's really difficult. I didn't know this. Let's see if it's true. The left hand of the screen moves things like this, but then the right hand side of the screen does the camera. Weird, it actually works. I saw that on TikTok like a couple hours ago. Like, look, this moves it. This side does the camera. Yes. Oh my god, I've got a cough. I'm so sorry, guys. Let me get my, like, thing up. I changed my mic settings, so now you can hear me cough all the time. I was struggling so hard. It was so annoying. It was driving me insane when I built this. I was like, how do I, like, do this? I couldn't figure it out. It works. It actually works. Well, there you go. Now we can both not struggle with building because I loved building this house. It was fun, but I was getting so frustrated. Not sure, but may have something else to do with the fact that I don't play. You should play it. You should play it. It's honestly, it's like like a chibi version of Paleo. I think someone said the other day. I think was it Fears? I think that was the name. It's free. Literally, it's free. It's on your phone. If you have an iPhone or like a smartphone, it's free. If you have an iPad, it's free. Nice to hear you when you move a little away from the mic. Can you still hear me over here? I think you can. Yeah. Oh my god. Guys, if my mum comes in, you're gonna be able to hear her. She's gonna be sat like here, but you'll be able to hear her. I don't have to tell her to eat the microphone anymore. She comes in and she like sits here and she's like talking and like they can't hear anything you're saying. You can. Oh, that's so good. I did test it for like an hour earlier. The problem is I go into like YouTube videos that are like how to set up your mic to stream on OBS and it doesn't work because my microphone, I'm going to say I don't recommend this microphone. It's the Razer Siren Mini. I've had it for like 6 years. It's not great because you can't just use typical settings. The microphone loves to pick up sounds and not to pick up sounds. So it took me like an hour of figuring it out and I just like went into a Razer Siren Mini video instead and it worked. I just went back to my old settings pretty much and put on again. So I can move it away. So I'll be able to hear her. Honestly, like usually you can't hear anything when she's sat on my bed because my bed is literally like, you see my hand? It's like I'm sat basically sat. I'm touching my bed. I'm touching it. It's like right there. So she sits right next to me, but you can't hear anything she says because the microphone didn't pick it up. But now you can. But yeah, we need to change this roof before I like become fed up with it because this, oh my god, this industrial ugly looking thing, I don't like it. So we need to delete the whole thing. Okay, hang on. Let's do one at a time so that I don't forget how to do this. Oh, which way did I have it? Was it this way? I think it was this way, but I could be wrong. Let's see. Oh, okay. This idea that the idea that you can do this and you can just move the camera. I wish I knew that the other day. This makes things so much easier. I was stuck. I couldn't move the camera to be the way I wanted it to be. It just looked so weird. This makes everything so much easier. Guys, be ready to be sick of me decorating in this game now. They need that in Paleo. Do you know the amount of things I wish I could go to the Paleo devs and be like, please add this. Please add this. I need it. Please. I want an... So like, okay, Paleo has an overhead, what is it, like bird's eye view? For decorating, and they have like a, you know, like a first person point of view, but I don't like it. You guys know that I haven't decorated in Paleo properly because I just don't like the decorating system. But I love Dreamlight Valley's decorating. I don't love the fact that if you do too much decorating in that game, it doesn't save. But the like system with the camera and everything is perfect. I love it. I just wish that we had one where your character was decorating, so it was a little bit more like first person, but they basically you can do everything greatly, so I can't complain about the game too much. This is so good now I know the camera. Turn the camera, move the camera. My heart is happy. My heart is so happy. Let's change this a little bit so that I can see the color a bit better. And let's change the color. Hold up. Hold up. They have green. They have the pastel green. Wait. Okay, that's slightly different. I think it works. I think it works. We'll see. Do I do... I think it's sort of like this color, maybe? Let's see. No, that's not right. This took me a while to understand how to do this the other day. Like, what colors do I use? You know? Try this? Ooh, that doesn't work. I mean, we can do just like a green. Oh, that is not correct. Hang on. I feel like there's two roofs. There's two roofs. I knew it. It always does that. It's so confusing. We can try doing this and just seeing how it looks. Like, I don't have to do this. But in my brain, I'm just like, it would be perfect if my house just looked the way I wanted it to look for once. I was starting to really hate how the house looked in the original house they give you. I was like, this is ugly. I don't like it. So, maybe I make these bits like white. Maybe that works. Oh, that's not the right thing. Is it this one? Maybe we do that. And then this one. Okay, I think I might like that a little bit better. It might not be perfect, but you know what? It's fine. But I do know that, where is it? I don't think it's on this, actually. We go back. I think there's this thing called Blueprint. Well, I know there's this thing called Blueprint. If you go on your watch here, this is my original house. You can't really see it. This is my original house, and it was not cute. Now, this, for some reason, is like not showing the house I have right now. But this is the house I spawned in with. This is the house I changed the color of. And now my house looks like this. So do you know what? I think I'm happy with it. Even though this isn't changed. It's fine. I'll leave it for now. I don't want to bore you guys. I don't want to bore you guys too much. But I will show you the house. So something I need is like a railing because I feel like this is just... I can see myself running up this and then just doing this. I need the game to prevent me from doing that. So it isn't properly decorated yet. Let me move the camera back. It's not properly decorated yet. But I have one of the things that a lot of people want in this game, and it's a pink shower, so I just like left it there. This is the bedroom. It's not very decorated, like I said. And I have a little balcony. And I have a little like, I don't know what this is called. I don't know what this is called. But like we have little steps up because for some reason I thought it was cute. So we made the room down here a little bit smaller. We have another balcony. And then obviously the stairs. And then we have little stairs going up to the house here. There's like the living room with the kitchen. With my like freakishly, is that the right word? Bright green, apparently green. It looks more blue to me. And yellow furniture that I don't really like that much. And I regret not getting the brown one. I'm not a fan of red. Like, I'm not that big of a fan of red. The only thing I love that's red is my light that is red because it's calming. But for some reason, the red version of this was just like a bit eerie. I don't know why, but this fridge kind of freaks me out. I'm not gonna lie. But when we cook in here, all I do is stand and look at this, so it's fine. It's like whatever. But I did get lucky and get this furniture from Bob. Is that his name? Is he called Bob? It's called Bob, right? Bob, right? Yeah, he's called Bob. Okay. Bob gave me the green furniture and I'm so happy. So that's my house. Finally. Finally we have something. But I have so much I can build on. Because when you level up this, they let you unlock these, which is basically like, it's like in Paleo when you build, like you expand where you can build, it's the same thing. But what level do I need this? How many like levels do I have to get through to get to this? I can build a city or a town or something on this. I've seen people do it. It looks like Animal Crossing by how much they've built. It's crazy. So I'm kind of vibing. And I like it. It's cute. It's enough. It's good enough for now. I mean, I could build more before next stream. We could build it next stream. But this stream, I haven't done anything yet. So we do need to do that. I haven't gone to the shops. I haven't done my quest. I haven't cooked anything. I use a red light in my room too. I can see fine with it, but it seems to help me relax, chill and fall for bed. When it gets to like 2 p.m. Okay, in the UK, like, obviously it's like, I don't like to call it miserable. Everyone always calls the weather miserable. It's ambient, okay? It's a bit it's a bit sad, but in like a nice way because it I like it. I don't like being out in it, but when I'm not out in it, it's nice. But like 2 p.m. in the UK, it's like dark. Even if the sky is still bright, it's like dim. So I put this red light on. Now you can't really see it too much because it's like a LED bulb and it doesn't like light up the room. But it is very calming. It's like the best thing personally that I have like not invested in, cost me that much. I used to have LED lights. I do not recommend those. Those like strips. No. One, they will rip your walls to shreds. If you have wallpaper, it's coming off. If you have paint, it's coming off, okay? And they can set on fire. Don't recommend them. But they were good. They used to light the whole room up. But this light is just enough. Okay, I have my ring light, so the camera doesn't pick up that light very much. If I turn the camera off, I'm going to actually. It might mess with the camera. But if I turn this light off, you can see how red it is. But with this light on, it doesn't really matter, you know? But I can see perfect in the red light. Everyone's always like, oh, it's too dark. I can't see anything. I'm like, it's perfect. It's like having a lamp, but it's a light. Can't explain it. The color of the red makes it seem like a lamp sort of light. It's sunny and 2 p.m. here, so it's bloody bright. I need sunglasses in my room. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's been no different all day outside. You can see how it looks out there. It's really not bright anymore because it's like 4 p.m. But the sun sets now. So the sun's setting now, but it's been this dark all day. I've had my big light on. Don't know what I was thinking, but I had my big light on for quite a while, so. Oh my god, my brother's cooking food and it smells. Making me cough. So sorry, I keep having to mute my mic. I don't want to deafen everyone with my cough. We have so much to do. We have so much to do and only like an hour and 20 minutes to do it in. When I stream, I don't like to play the game that I'm going to stream before I stream because it ruins it. I like to kind of just not play it at all. And then anything I need to do, I can do it on stream. If I got on and played Heartopia earlier, we would have been sat here not doing much. So I've done my plants. We need to plant more, but this little thing's going to sit there and be very annoying. So we're going to try and put them down, but she's not going to move. I need them to remove this from the game because it's sunny. I have sunshine in my room. Oh, well, see. I don't have that because I have a massive tree in my garden that blocks any sunlight, which is pretty great. So I actually am not going to complain about that tree again because I just realized how annoying it would be without it there. But yeah, the tree used to be a lot smaller. And in the last, like, I would say in the last 20 years, that tree has grown so much. It's crazy. But it's is it a cherry blossom tree? I think it is. It grows cherries. So it has grown a lot in 20 years. And the sun used to shine directly towards my room. I don't see the sun anymore because it's covered by the tree. Maybe you should plant a tree. It might stop that. give it a while, but it might work. So there's some things I want to do. I'm a bit annoyed because we do have maintenance today, which is fine because the stream will be ended before I actually have that maintenance in game. So it's not too big of a deal, but I'm a bit annoyed that it isn't going to happen before I stream. Because I would have quite liked to have streamed afterwards because, you know, it's going to fix a bunch of things. There's also an event happening on Saturday and I don't stream on a Saturday. Oh, what did she just say? I don't know what she just said. She said something and it made me sad because I don't know what it is. I feel bad now. But we have a bunch of stuff to do before that. So the new event thing starts on Saturday and it's like a winter event. And I'm annoyed that I'm probably gonna make content for that off stream maybe and try and upload like just a couple of videos, just a few tiny little videos in like a stream style, right? Like it's clipped from stream, but it's not. Because I kind of want to put that on my TikTok, but I'm not gonna be live. Hello, DJ. How you doing? Been a while. I haven't streamed in months. It's so weird seeing everyone's faces. I want to get some of that mirror film to put on my windows, but I have to put it on the outside, and we have lead on the windows making small squares. Oh, yeah, we used to have those. We got them changed. Thank God. They were awful. I used to hate those. Like, absolutely hated them. They were terrible. Let me accept all these quests before I forget. Okay. So we're gonna do all these at once because I like to deliver them all at once instead of just doing them one by one because then I have to go find everyone again. It's really annoying. I had a break with an operation, so oh. Are you okay now? Is everything good? Are you recovering okay? I took an unintentional break that partially felt like I was quitting streaming forever, and then I decided that I couldn't do that and I had to come back. So it's been a long time. How's the game? I'm loving this game. Have you been playing it? I'm obsessed. Absolutely obsessed. I have like 40 hours in game already. It's already been I don't think it's even been 2 weeks yet. Kind of an obsession, but like I'm here for it. So I'm glad to see that there's a lot of other people like me. I'm not the only one. But I can definitely see myself playing this game for a while. This is not a fluke of a game. This is like I'll be sticking around. So if anyone's looking for a game that's addictive, this is it. This is definitely it. Oh, we can do that with blank, actually. I don't want to do that. Any furniture. Okay, well, we don't really need to do anything. We can just hop in my car and go buy things. You thought about quitting streaming? I feel like everyone does that. Anyone that's ever streamed has thought about it or has like done it and then come back, right? Because what happened was I got ill in my last stream last year. Like you could see it. I have the VODs on my YouTube. I got sick 3 times. So every single week I got sick and I just like couldn't get over it. And I just felt like, oh, my body's not made for this. Like being chronically ill is like, it sucks, right? It sucks. So I was just like, my body can't do this. I'm not able to actually stream. Like I just can't do it. And then I was like, yeah, I'm done. I love it, but I'm done. And then I literally didn't stream, didn't make content, did practically nothing actually for 6 months. Like I literally like, yeah. And then one day I was just like, I need to do this again. And I started thinking about it, started thinking about coming back. And then it just happened. I was just like, I need to do it. This is my like thing. I love this so much and I missed it too much. And everyone kept saying like, yeah, I thought you loved it. And I was like, I do. I wanted to test out, but tried Hightail. Oh, I want to play that game. I've never played Minecraft. Never played Minecraft, but always, because apparently that game started out as like a mod pack, but then now it's actually its own game and it looks so cute. But I'm worried about if I won't like it or not. Thinking about testing Heartopia since I see many playing it. Yeah, do it. Do it. If you like cute, cozy stuff, this is the game. Trust me. It's so good. Health is always important, more important for sure. It is, definitely. That was why, because I couldn't physically stream for 3 weeks. After that 3-week period, it felt like it was useless me trying again, so I just stopped. But I got mean. I was mean to myself. I was like, you can't do this. You can't do it. Your body's not good enough. But no. Just trying not to go so hard at streaming and take breaks. That's what I've been saying. I was trying to stream every day. It's not a thing. Don't do it. Stream twice a week for 2 hours. And then put your content out everywhere else. And that's what I've been doing. I've been posting almost every day now. I'm going to try and post every day, just like short clips. And it's the best thing I've done. It's the least stressful routine for me to do to grow on streaming. And you know what? I really love it. I love it. I'm having fun. I'm having fun and like I'm also proud of myself at the same time. That like things are actually working out as I wanted them to. So do you know what? 0 regrets about coming back. 0 regrets. And you guys keep popping up in stream too. Like I know you guys. Like I see new people, but then there's like the older people from like when I was streaming 6 months ago. It's really nice. Nice to see everyone. Oh. Ooh. What is this? Laptop? We love that. Ambitious. I hope it works out for you. Thank you. I hope that for everyone. I was thinking to myself, like, oh, I'm so happy this is working for me. But then I was like, you know what? I hope everyone that's putting in the effort gets it. Because I was feeling really like I've just been feeling very like you said, ambitious. I've been hopeful. Okay. I've been giving myself affirmations. I've been kind to myself. It works. It works. I definitely recommend it. I definitely recommend doing that. Speaking of, we're gonna go and look at clothes in the shop, and I hope the game is nice to me. We're gonna just look down as we walk in and not look at anything. I see that hat and I don't want it. Please be cute things. Oh no. Guys, it doesn't work. When I don't stream, I get cute stuff. I got this whole outfit. This outfit, not the shoes, but the bandana and the dungarees. Got them like yesterday and they're so cute. Or the day before, even when I didn't stream. What do I get now? I get nothing. What is this? Like, I don't want these. I don't want these. No. Oh, we have strawberry socks. Berry socks. Wait, let me take the shoes off. Wait, okay, the socks are cute. Hang on. Hang on, the socks are cute. Wait, the socks are cute. Printed high knee socks. I don't like those ones. Are these cheese socks? Wait, they're bread and egg. They're bread and egg socks. What are these? Are we being serious? Why do we have bread and egg on socks? I know it's a little blurry, but like I could tell that, that those are bread and eggs on my socks. What? Why is that a thing? I get the apples. The apples are cute. Baguette and egg. That's the aesthetic of this game. What is this? Did you know what? I kind of want the apple socks. Sorry, I'm weird like that. I gotta buy the strawberry ones. They're too cute. I don't want the other ones though. That's too funny. I love it. What is this game? Oh, we have no shoes. Eva, I don't really care about these shoes. Give me the cute shoes. We don't have hats, Eva. Damn it, we didn't get lucky today. We got nothing. I have money. Look, all my money. I have 85k in the game, and the game doesn't want to give me anything for it. Someone thought about food while creating those. Can you imagine? Someone sat there eating a cheese baguette. Sounds nice right by now, actually. And they're just like, the right kind of shoes, right kind of socks, the right kind of socks in this game would be... It wasn't even cheese. It was egg. Why am I saying cheese? They were egg and baguette socks. I know that someone's going to style them really cutely though, and that's the problem. Someone's going to make them look really cute, even though they look really weird, and it's a weird concept. They're going to look real cute. I already know it. There's too many people in this game that are like so creative and just think about things like that. Okay. We need to give him blueberries. We have loads of. Well, not loads of anymore. I have less than I did have. I used to have loads more. Okay. And apparently this is how we cheat bird watching. No one thought to tell me about this, but this is how you cheat it. I saw this on TikTok. Like, what is this? I'm just cheating. Technically not classed as cheating if it's integrated into the game. So that's fun. What are the... Okay, this is the only one we have to do, so we have to find Albert. Albert Jr. Okay, let's go find him, and then we'll sell the stuff I have, because I do actually have some stuff to sell. And he's only here. Oh my god, and that's there too? Perfect. Perfect timing. Hello. Please take my truffle pie and give me the monies. Okay, it's not that much money, but, you know, it's fine. And we also need to get this guy. Okay. Something else we need to go and do is actually find out where Oak is. Because I love that guy. And I also need the wood for the day. Apparently there's like 4 big trees like that spawn around the map that I did not know about. And they're only like once a day things as well. And they give loads of material. So we should look into that, because I didn't know they were a thing until like yesterday. But yeah, like oak is once a day. The little blue things once a day, but then these other trees are like once a day too. Oh, look, a little chill. Thank you for the lurk, though. I appreciate it. If you don't come back from the lurk, I hope you have a really amazing day. Thank you for coming by. Oh, guys, we ruined the roof. Why is the roof 2 colors? Nope. Nope. I can't leave it. I can't leave it. Let me change it. I cannot leave that. It is gonna drive me insane. It looks so weird. Why is it 2 colors? That is a bit of a problem in this game. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. It's a little bit of a problem. And we need to change it. So let's do that. Click on this. Yep, it's not the right color. That one is. And I also think I preferred this being green. I'm not gonna lie. So let's... That's not what I wanted to change. Excuse you. Do you hear when you're playing a game and things just like happen when you didn't even tell the game to do it? Oh my god. Okay, save. Leave. And it should work. Want to watch? Alright, I'm in the couch in essential mode. Oh, you might fall asleep. Honestly, do you know what? I fall asleep to Twitch streams all the time. It's actually ridiculous. It's becoming a bit of a problem. I always do that. Also, like, we need to feed my dog, because I fed my cat and my dog didn't get fed. You had the rest of my mushrooms. I feel kind of bad. Okay. So we've done the dailies, I think, which is great, because now we have to think about them. So let's upgrade my DG level. I can't do it. Why can't I do it? Excuse me. Oh my god, I don't want to join. Why can't I upgrade? I'm 10 off. Why am I 10 off? Hang on. If anyone's watching that knows, please help. Do you have to do more DG stuff when you level up? Does it get harder to level up? Because that's kind of sad. I have to wait till tomorrow to level up. We were just about to unlock materials. No. That would have been so good. It's all alright. It's all alright. It's okay. It's fine. But I don't think we actually have... You don't have any truffle. Okay, so we're gonna go and untrack that. And we're gonna go get truffle, which is over here. So that we can make truffle pie. Because that's my way of making money right now. And if anyone is actually wondering... Like, the best way of making money is definitely something to do with the truffles. But the best way to actually do it is to maximize the rainbow event, because I played the rainbow event the other day. And if you check the weather app in the game, it tells you when the rainbow event's going to happen. And it gives you like such a high chance of gaining more materials when you pick them up. So like if you're gonna harvest a bunch of mushrooms, you may get like 2 or 3. But oh my god, if it's spawning in. You may get 2 or 3. If you do the same thing during the rainbow event, you could get like 6 or more, and I'm not gonna say the next number because it's gonna get clipped or something. But yeah, basically it's like it's definitely worth playing during that time. I think for me it was between 7 and 11 p.m. And I think it's local time as well, so it literally depends on like what time it is by you. Or at least per server, so like typical time. So it happened at like 7 p.m. till 11 p.m. European, pretty much. But it could have been a different time for everyone else. But it was definitely worth it. I collected like 250 truffle. And then I collected like 200 plus blueberries, apples, raspberries. I made so much money and bought so many things. It was crazy. So I definitely recommend maximizing that event. That's like the best thing a game has, I think. I mean, there's a meteor event as well, which I think happens on the 24th this month. And then there's going to be an actual event that's like rewards and things as well on the 24th, which is Saturday, I think. Which I'll have to do off stream because I won't be streaming, which is really annoying. And I wish it was happening on Friday, but it won't be. And even if it did happen on Friday, I don't stream during the time I think it would start. So that sucks. But you know, if we actually streamed on the typical time that I used to stream on, the game would have been down for maintenance today. So it's, you know, it's a good thing. Sorry, but that car is perfect for the ground unless you drive over. It should be a 4x4. It's adorable. It's like a little mini. I love it. I have a moped. I can spawn my moped. Can I do that? Hang on. No, I can't. I have the green one, but I'm not driving that. Well, 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 and a well. Hello, welcome in. Wait, we're gonna do mushrooms around here while we wait for the other one. Welcome. I'm assuming you're about to finish work or you're working from home. It always makes me laugh when you come in before 5 p.m, Jack. You're basically skiving, but from work. I thought that was a person. I keep getting jump scared in this game, honestly. I don't know if anyone else does. But it keeps happening all the time. Like that TikTok I posted, it was so funny. I was just like, why is there a person in front of my house? Hello? I hear you came home a minute ago. I heard the door shut. And ads are about to begin in 3 minutes. So I'll let you know when they're about to begin. I will go take a little break, 3-minute break. And then we'll continue doing whatever we're doing. Up till 6:30 in the office. Oh my god. Hopefully my voice isn't making it even worse. Hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully you're being tried good. I say I hope. So I've seen your ads on your channel. That's because you've been subbed like the whole time. It's crazy. Wait, I think you might have been my first sub actually, now that I think about it. You find my packs of tissues? I did find your packs of tissue. I was gonna tell you, but I thought it'd be more fun if I just left them there and let you come home to find them. If anyone's confused, my mum went and got like some stuff from the shop, and she got like you know, like the 10-pack of tissues or whatever they are, like 8 packs, like the pocket tissues. She couldn't find them the next day. She's like, I don't know where they are. I lost them. She kept thinking she dropped them in the car park or something. Turns out they dropped down from the drawer into the like cupboard. So I just like picked them up and left them. Like, surprise! Merry Christmas! You're blasting throughout all the speakers. Oh, if anyone wasn't here before, I changed my microphone. If it's too loud or too quiet or something doesn't sound right, tell me, please. I'm begging you. Apparently, according to Tony, it sounds fine. But if anything doesn't sound right, please, please, please let me know, because I do not want to be screaming in your ear, and I don't want to be too quiet. So I was. Yeah, I thought you were. I think I remember the first couple of you guys. I think if you sub now, I think you can still get a founder's badge, which is pretty cool. You're on mute. Can you imagine I said that and then you said I'm on mute? Because that wouldn't make any sense. You try that every time. Do you know how many times you've tried that to the point that it's like, I have a big button in front of me that says my microphone and it's colored in. If it's not colored, it's black and white. I can't be heard and I'm muted. I used to do when we streamed Fortnite on my old account. Not anymore. I know what I'm doing now. I'm a pro at this. If it's too loud or too quiet, we have volume controls. No, but I need to be able to clip it to post on stuff, and I need it to not be too loud or too quiet. I think ads are actually about to begin in a minute, so I'm actually going to take a couple minutes break, but I will be right back. I want you guys to go and do any sort of self-care you need to do. Go get a drink, go get some food, stretch, and I will be right back. Okay, I hope ads have ended for anyone. Got them. It always says ads have finished, but I'm always a little bit worried that they're still playing. Apologies if anyone's watching the VOD and was betrayed by Twitch. um, I can barely hear you on my phone. Okay, I'm gonna assume barely hearing me is a good thing, not a bad thing. I haven't changed the one we streamed since the last time you streamed, so it's fine for me. Wait, what do you mean you haven't changed the volume on my stream? Huh? Can't hear you. I feel like, Jack, you have to be like the biggest troll ever. I'm not too sure if I've met anyone as like much of a troll. Funniest thing is, I don't even remember the reason why I got you timed out in that like one stream like 5 years ago. I don't know the reason, and I don't think it was even anything like this. The amount of times that you must have said to me before, like, there's something behind you, I'm just like, you know I don't believe you anymore, right? If we're playing and you tell me that there's something like gold loot, I am not gonna believe you now. I'm not gonna. Because I was 18. You're still 18 to me. You might as well be 18 to me now. No, you've definitely grown up, but you're still like still yourself. So like it doesn't change, okay? I still have traits from when I was 18. It's fine. When I said I was a spider, yeah, you did that once, and that freaked me out the whole stream because I did not know if you were being serious. If anyone came in during the ad break, I'm basically just foraging mushrooms because I want to make food and make money. Don't we all? Is that not what we all want to do in these games? It's just become rich. I feel like that's the end game every time. Because I mean, at this point, the one thing I want to do in this game is decorate, and I need money for that. And it's not that difficult to make money in the game. I just drank like half of this during the break. I do need it though. I'm pretty sure my brother cooked some food with a lot of paprika in it. It's making my throat cough. My throat cough. It's making me hurt because my throat. Oh my god. Basically, I listen to everyone at the same volume. So when I open up Twitch and watch a stream, the volume is the same level as when I watch on stream, and my PC volume's always the same. You never change any of it? That's crazy. I change Twitch volume all the time. Like, I mean, do you watch things the same way every time, like with a headset or speakers, like, or do you change? Jack? These are like perfect clippable moments, but I just can't post that on my socials because it just doesn't come across that way at all. Oh my god. I think you need to start thinking before you press send. Oh my god. It's okay. It's okay. It never happened. We're gonna go and get the truffle because it spawns every like 10 minutes or so. I never said, yeah, you never said, I just delete your message if you want. It never happened. Wait, what did you say again? Ah, oh, this one's about to spawn in. By the way, guys, I've come to a conclusion that 2 hours is a perfect stream for me. So if you don't have a sub, you probably only get one ad break the whole stream. If I stream for longer, obviously it'll be more, but I have to play ads like once an hour so that you don't get ads when you enter the stream, and so that Twitch don't play them whenever it feels like it. But yeah, if I'm streaming for like 2 hours and I end, I have like 3 things I can stop ads from playing 3 times. So we can basically like avoid ads. I mean, technically I could avoid ads, but they're gonna play like during the hour as well. So I'm basically looking at it as we stream for an hour, we have an ad break. We all take a break. And then for the next hour, we just avoid the ads and they end the stream before the 3 ad delays wear off, and then we can only have one ad break. Hoodie color looks good, by the way. I think it doesn't quite pick it up. It's similar to this. It's like a purpley color. I got it yesterday. My mum wanted it, but I ate mine. I got it. I saw it first. I saw it first, so I took it. We're gonna see if there's another one at our shop instead of the one we went to. But it's just a Primark hoodie, I think. Yeah, I think it was in the sale. It was like £7. It just says like Los Angeles, like something on it. I don't know. You know British clothing. They just like to write random things on it. But it's really soft and really comfortable. So it's like actually perfect thing to wear on stream too. I do not like being uncomfortable on stream. It's like the worst feeling. Or when you're playing games anyway, would you really want to be like, does anyone wear jeans? If anyone is wearing jeans while you play video games, you are crazy. I think wearing jeans in the house is crazy enough. But no. She snatched it. I didn't snatch it. I saw it first. You know? But honestly, if it didn't fit how I wanted it to, it would have been yours. You know that. It's so nice. I was looking good too. Everyone's been so nice today. Like, I know you're like obligated to because you're my mum, but like everyone. I bet you wear socks to bed. I do not wear socks to bed. I'm against socks in bed. If anyone is wearing socks to bed, if it's cold, if it's minus temperature in the UK, it gets so cold, I have to wear them. It's like once in a blue moon. I am not wearing socks to bed if I don't have to wear socks to bed. Who's voluntarily wearing socks on a regular temperature day to bed? No. Please don't do that. It just feels wrong. It just feels wrong. Especially if you've worn the socks all day, that's even worse. If you wear socks to bed, it's bad enough. If you wear socks to bed that you wore all day, I am concerned about you, okay? I'm concerned. Why'd you wear fluffy socks with a dressing gown? Do you know what I don't own, Jack? I don't own a dressing gown. I hate them. I hate dressing gowns. They're the most constrictive things ever. I hate them. Nope. I do own bed socks. I don't wear to bed. I wear them in general, but not to bed. Came across as that girl. I am the opposite of that. You think you know me, but you don't know me, do you? Everyone always thinks they know who I am, but they have no idea. Definitely not her. No. I used to have a dressing gown when I was like 12. I don't think I've owned a dressing gown in that long. I actually don't think I've owned a dressing gown in that long. That's kind of hilarious. They're just not my vibe. They're not my vibe. I don't like them. Everyone's always like, oh, you need a good dressing gown, and oh, you need a good pair of it. No, I don't. I don't need any of them. Okay, leave me alone. I like my pajama trousers. Pajama pants are perfect. Comfortable. Perfect. No socks in bed. No socks in bed. No dressing gown. Just a jumper. I pick like a jumper that like I will wear first thing in the morning, and it's like fine. I don't need a dressing gown. Jumpers, hoodies, like they're perfectly fine. We found Oak. We found our friend. They're not that revealing too when you want to be like, no. I think dressing gowns are good. They make sense. Okay, dressing gowns are like fine. I get why people wear them. I get it. Not like I don't understand why people wear socks to bed. But they get dressing gowns. But they're just not for me. Can't sleep with socks on. Thank you. Thank you for being... I would say the same person, but you're a part of like the cozy gaming community, so I feel like I can't call you that because anyone that plays these games is probably not very sane. I keep saying people saying like, if you play Paleo, yeah, you probably think that like it's a nice calming game, but you probably need therapy. Why are you playing Paleo? There's something wrong with all of us, okay? If we play these games, there's something there. Can't quite work out what it is. Sometimes I slip socks on is if I'm sick or feel like I can't get warm. Exactly. See, this is a very reasonable thing. If it's freezing cold or like you're sick, like, I get it. Why are you just choosing to wear socks to bed? Gross. Absolutely gross. Okay, we're gonna cook. This is really easy, by the way. If anyone's wondering about cooking in this game, it is so simple. Click on the oven, click the food you want, and it'll just go in. And all you have to do is press this when it pops up every once in a while, and it's so easy. This is like the easiest thing in comparison to paleo cooking. I know a lot of people like paleo cooking, but yeah, no. I forgot I was even on a break. I need to go. Oh my god. Go. Don't get caught. Oh, you're in a free watch streak though. That's nice. Gonna go see how the plumber's getting on. Oh, they'll leave the plumber waiting. Okay. Right, you're about to see. You're about to see how easy this is. We put all three. We click on this. We don't have to think about this one now. We click on this one. We don't have to think about this one. This is the easiest thing I've ever done in a game when it comes to cooking. And this thing I'm making as well, so much money comes from this. Cook. 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 I'm still here. I know there's some of you still here. Don't worry about it. I actually think, I'm not gonna lie, I know we said this about Palia, but I actually think you could play this because of how simple it is. I don't know if you'd be able to decorate, but you could probably play it. It'd be like a quick like 30 minutes a day, but maybe you'd be able to play it. We need to make you an iPad, kid. We need to get you an iPad so you can play the, what's that marble game called? The, like, frog one? Oh, I don't remember the name of it. Where, like, the frog spits, like, the marbles out. That would be so good on iPad, I'm not gonna lie. It still doesn't hit the same as when you had it on PC as a kid, though. Like, I used to play that on the PC, like, oh my god, on, like, Internet Explorer, on, like, Windows 64, whatever it's called. No, it's not called Mahjong, because that's, the, like, not cards, but, like, the rectangle, like, oh, what are they called? They're like marble, but, like, they're not marbles. Those are, like, card ones. The marble one. I remember what it's called. It's got, like, loads of different names, but the original one, nothing will ever beat the original one on the old PCs. I think that game was so nostalgic looking back. I used to spend hours just playing that. How was I so easily entertained? Like, I used to, like, I remember playing Roller Coaster Tycoon way back when. I'm talking, like, 2000s. Like, 2006, maybe, because I remember playing it here. And, like, that would entertain me for hours. Now, for some reason, I can't get into the Tycoon games. They're just not that fun. But they used to be really fun. I used to love that. Those games were just, like, so good. I would even just play, pinball. Even pinball was good. Like, pinball now would be so boring because I'm so used to games like this. I feel like that's so weird. Like, I have so much stimulation in all these games that I'm just like... those games are just so boring to me now. It'd be fun for, like, a day, and then I'd get bored. Which is so bad. I blame TikTok. I blame TikTok for the brain rot. I think I'll just blame TikTok for everything these days. I think, like, this is the thing. You use a lot of Instagram, okay? I used a lot of TikTok when it became a thing, to a point that you aren't, like, your brain hasn't been fried like mine. My brain is fried due to TikTok, which is just not, it's just not good. It's not good at all. I do not recommend, if you've not used TikTok yet, don't download it, okay? You don't need that in your life. You don't want it in your life, trust me. Whose house is that? Whose house is that? Hello? Wait. Is that an orange cat? Hey. Are you orange? It's called Astro. Oh. Oh, these cats are so cute. Oh, I need an orange cat now. Oh my. Wow. Oh no. See, I don't have this yet, but this is so cute. This is so cute. This is the first time I've done this, by the way. Just gone into someone's house and it just been like looking around. Wait, this is so cute. How did they get all these things? How did you get all this? Oh, I think they came home. I think they came home. This is so cool. Oh my. I'm heavily addicted to this game. It is getting really bad. This is like the addiction from Palia. This is the Dreamlight Valley type addiction. This is the Stardew Valley type addiction. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. It's bad. This is my neighbor too. Like, huh? Look at my house and look at their house. Look at this. My house still doesn't look that cute. You're cute though. We love you. Look at this guy. um. Okay, we need to collect daily stuff because I haven't done it yet. Let's collect all these. Oh, we're on day 14. Okay, so we have a few things to do maybe. Let's check what we need to do. Okay, so basically, what do I have left to get? Oh, okay, we need to do this because I want these socks. I need this, and this is cute. Okay. So we need to send any emote. What does send any emote mean? Send any emote 10 times. Oh, hello, friend. Who are you? Wait, wait, is that your house? Is it? Wait, where did they go? Where did they go? Oh, hi. I love stuff like this. This is why I play these games. How cute was that? Just like a universal thing for hi is just like, man, I love these games. What was I saying? Oh, we need to do emotes. Okay, do I just like do this? Is that what it means? Wait, that might have been what it meant. Yes, we did that. Okay. So we need to do sea fish. I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to get that, I'm not gonna lie. Join or host a party. We'll do if we have to do. Craft 30 items at my workbench. Let's go see what we can do in the workbench because I'm not too sure what we're able to do. Okay, for some reason, when I mute my mic, it takes forever for the volume to go back down before I can unmute it. So I'm so sorry if you can hear me like cough. I really don't mean for it to come through. Um, we need to do like 20 things roughly. Let's see if we've not actually done something yet. I don't want to do this because it takes up my fluorite and I don't want to use that. I really don't want to use that. But oh, we have these. These use it too though. That one doesn't. I'm gonna do that. We're gonna do like a bunch of random stuff that I don't even need just so I can get this quest finished. But the collector's stuff is so cute. Like look at this little book. You can't even see it. This is so cute. I love it. We're gonna do it because I want one. Like a little reading set. I don't know. I just think it's cute. And then let's see what can I do that's like really simple and won't take up any materials. Oh, I have all of these. Wait, I didn't even realize I had these. um I was just checking to see if you guys could hear the blender in the background. What do we do? No. Okay, ceiling lights use fluorite. We don't want to do that. Okay. Let's do repair kits, maybe. I need quite a few, though. This uses rumming oak. I didn't realize it used rumming oak. Let's just do this. Let's just do some of these and use some of my sticks. I have loads of them. I am no longer gonna craft those if it uses rumming oak. I've been doing that forever and not realizing it. That is so bad. Wait, that didn't count. Craft 30 items at the workbench. Does it have to be like 30 different things? That's crazy if it is. That's bad. I'm not happy with that. I'm actually really mad about that. What do you mean? Wait, so if I do 2 of these, or 3, I don't remember what I just clicked. What is that going to put me at? It doesn't count? Okay, well, we're going to do something else then. Moving on. Let's see. We can do this one. Place a total of 50 pieces of furniture. Wait, how many more do I need? Let's collect this before I forget to. 4. Okay. I can do 4. I can put 4. You can just like put them down and pick them back up. It's fine. 1, 2. What else do we have? Oh, we have like 3 of these. We can just put those down. And then we can go collect it. And then I don't have to do anything about it. I can pick them all back up again. Okay, hang on. How do I get rid of something without having to go into... Oh, can I not? Wait, that is so annoying. Okay, well, we gotta go in and do it this way now. All fine. All fine. Okay. So we want to pick that up, pick that up, pick that up, and pick that up. Save. All fine. We did one thing at least. Need to see what else I can do. I want to try and finish this. I think everyone said it was the last day to do it. I'm not sure if it like runs out after today. We got 1. I love those. They're so cute. Plus 10 decorations, plant decorations. We don't have any plants, I don't think. 350 building materials in your home. Home valuation. Oh, we can do that. How do I do that again? How do I do that again? Is it on here? There we go. So that'll count. Yes, it does. Nice. How much mod we need to do? We need to do quite a few. Reach birdwatching level 2. And then pigeon. Okay, let's go do that. We need to heal this though. Okay. I need like a throat sweep because my throat is not being my friend. Okay. We need to do level 2. I'm not on level 2, right? Am I birdwatching level 2? I'm level 1. Oh, we're not. Oh, we can level up. Oh, that makes it so much easier. So we need to find a pigeon. I don't know what pigeon. Let's have a look in the collection. I'm going to assume it's the regular pigeon. Oh, it's not the regular pigeon. Okay. Okay, so the wrapper picks up on stream. I should have tested that. We need this one. How do I find this? Hmm. Do we just drive around until we find pigeons? And just take pictures of them all? You it? No. No, you're not. Damn it, that's the wrong one. I don't know what it looks like. I have no idea what this pigeon looks like, so we're kind of like going in blind. I have found, though, that birds and insects all hang around by the ponds where the fish are. So there's every chance that we just drive by water. But maybe I'm wrong and it spawns somewhere else. I don't know. We'll spend a couple minutes trying to find it. If I don't find it, we just move on to the next thing. I can work on these after stream too. Like, it's not too big of a deal. I probably will work on them after stream because I do want to try and complete them. Oh, nearly ran and go over. I definitely want to work on them after stream because I want to make sure that I get them done. Because there's like rewards that I won't get again. But you know what? It's not too big of a deal. I want the currency more than anything because there's gonna be things in the game that I'm gonna want. And if I don't have the currency because I didn't complete something, I will be very annoyed with myself. Like, I love collecting stuff and I feel like not being able to collect something because I didn't do it early enough is like very annoying. What are you? I found him! I found him! We found the pigeon already. That was nice. Okay. Let's go. Got it. Okay, we might have to do quite a few things for this. Bird info cards. Okay, we can do that. Let's go to them and give them the bird info cards. We have quite a few, so. We're gonna go all the way back to town, though. I just rode out to the outskirts, then we're gonna go back. I definitely feel like driving or walking is better than fast travel in this game because the bus stops are kind of useless for 200 gold. Which is like, I mean, it's not a lot when you have what I have because I have over 100k right now. But I don't want to spend 200 gold every time I want to come back to the center and see someone. I feel like it's a waste of time. I feel like it makes more sense to just drive. Just drive. Or walk. Honestly, walking's even better too. Okay, I didn't know you could do this. But you can give him... You can give Bailey J, I think, is it 3 cards or 5 cards a day? And you get stuff for it. Or usually you do. Wait. I didn't know they had a shop. Wait. I already have this because I think I got one for free, but that is so cool. Bird whistles? Camouflage bush? Oh my god, that's so cute. Okay, we'll definitely be doing that from now on though, because I feel like I just don't do anything with the bird watching and it feels kind of useless. Apparently we have something we need to submit here. Let's see what it is. Oh. Do I have to click it? Deliverable. Deliverable. Where is it? Pen to paper. Oh, that's what it is. The game's kind of bugging out a little bit when it's like saying you have something to collect when you don't. And I'm kind of like, well, that's not correct now, is it? We need to go and get eggs. I must have got the eggs. We need eggs for the truffle pie. And sometimes they're on sale. Oh well. They're not on sale today, but it's fine. They only cost you 5,000 every day. Buy them. Buy them daily. Make sure you have all of them. if you're trying to make money in this game, you kind of need to get into a system of it. I have gotten a lot better since the last stream with doing daily stuff. Because before I was really bad. I was just like not doing anything in terms of like making sure that I had like daily stuff that I would do. It was really bad. I just like didn't do anything. I wasn't feeding the animals. I wasn't doing oak or the flora. I wasn't doing anything. So I definitely do recommend. It takes like 10 minutes at most to do daily stuff. Also, this is the new event. I think it starts on Saturday. Complete quest to claim exclusive rewards. Look how cute this is. Wait, these look like Kinder eggs. These look like Kinder eggs, right? Or like Kinder Joys, I think they're called now. Not, they're the same. I think they're a different thing, but these are like the scoopable ones. That's weird. I wonder what else we're gonna get. I'm actually excited for an event in the game. This is like the first proper event I think the game's gonna have on like global servers. But I know that there's some other things that we have yet to have on this server. I keep seeing a bunch of people that have built houses on the Chinese server with the game's been out in China for like over a year, I think. There's so many cute stuff that we don't have yet. I'm dying for them to put it in the game. It's gonna be so good. Can't wait to see what everyone creates. Like, I've been obsessed with either seeing people's clothes that they make, furniture they make, or just decorating in general. My TikTok is full of it. I saw someone earlier make, I think it was SpongeBob and Patrick, like, matching jumpers. And they were so cute. They were so cute. It was like, I actually like them. I'm not too big of a fan of some of the things that are being made because they don't quite fit the pixelated, like, stitching look. But some of them are so cute that they match so perfectly. I'm, like, obsessed. For some reason, SpongeBob and Patrick work perfect. But yeah, it's like a cross-stitch type, pixelated type of look. So I think... Oh, there's a fish. So I think that, like... There's one there too. I think some things look a little bit odd. But I think if it's like a cartoon character or something that you're going to create on the clothes, I think it looks so cute. So I love the fact that we can actually do something like that. I'm definitely going to try it at some point, but I'm a little bit nervous to do it now because I have no idea how to even make the clothes to begin with. But I will give it a try at some point because I think there's some stuff I love to create. I saw someone earlier. Someone earlier made Rapunzel from Tangled. Like the dress. And then like gave her like long blonde hair. It was so cute. New fish! Yeah, it was so cute. So I'm like, think I might have to dip my toes in there. Because I didn't even decorate until the other day. And then I realized how fun it was and how obsessed I am and how silly I've been by not doing it in Palia too. Palia's the only game I've yet to decorate properly in. Because I'm just like, I don't know if this is gonna work for me. Because this just really, really bugs me how the camera looks. Now that I found out how to do the camera in this game, I am going to be absolutely obsessed. Nothing will stop me from decorating in this game now. And I mean that. I mean that because how, if I figured out how to move the camera properly and everything on PC, like, I was almost considering only decorating on my iPad because I thought, well, clearly there's not really a great system for it on PC, but it's just different sides of the screen. I can't believe I didn't figure that out myself. Like, I kept clicking randomly on the screen to try and move things, and it just did it random. I was like, this is a little bit weird that the camera just moves wherever it wants to. Like, wherever. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And then it turns out I just wasn't doing it right the whole time. It's kind of funny, actually. Now I know what I'm doing, I'm probably gonna end up building my own little town. I'm absolutely obsessed with these people that have made the, like, Animal Crossing type of towns. I know it's not really an Animal Crossing thing as such, but it looks like Animal Crossing. The same way that people build towns over there, it looks like that, and it's the cutest thing ever. Has the house glitched? Has this person's house glitched, or like, is this what we're working with? I'm kind of struggling to understand the vision a little bit, but you know what? You do you. I think we must be decorating because that's kind of what I did. I destroyed the whole house. This is the house, isn't it? I think. Wait, no, this is a different house. Wait, this one's so cute. Oh, and there's friends here. I think they're decorating together. Oh, they're decorating. I don't want to get reset, but this is so cute. Look at the fish. Oh, you guys are all so talented. It makes me so jealous. I've just got to join you guys. That's what I decided the other night. I was like, what can I build? You know, what can I actually build? What could I build that would be perfect for this kind of like thing that people are doing? Like, wait, is this a shop? No, it's a house. Okay. I thought with the vending machine outside, I was like, is this a house? Because I've seen people build 7-Elevens in the game, okay? And you can actually sell things too. I didn't know that. You buy the cash register, like, blueprint, you can sell things. Like, genuinely make money from other players, which I think is so cool. There's so many things in this game that I think a lot of games could use the, I don't know what the word is. Basically, just look at it and realize how many people want it. Then you'll see your game needs it too. I'll keep saying it. Keep saying it. People ask for things, give it to them. Honestly, even just like when they say like, we really want this, be like, okay, we'll consider it. I think the best thing is when you do that while you're testing a game. That is like the funniest little thing. Like, I saw so many people say things in the alpha playtest. They were like, could we add this to the game? And like, when they respond back being like, yeah, we'll think about that. I'm like, yes. Hope you have AAR, RAC in that case. Oh, and my car. Look, I have like, can I show you it? Can I show you all my stuff without going back home? I don't think I can. Wait, let me get out. How do I do it? Oh, these are my free vehicles. This is the default. You get this for, what do you get this for? You have to like claim stuff to get this, and then this is a login reward. I like these. I don't like this one. But like, the other car options are not very great either. Like, what are the other ones? I think they're in here. Are they in here? I think. I don't know where they are. I mean, realistically, you look better than the car. Okay, but come on. Look at my character and tell me that you don't think she would drive that. It makes sense, okay? It makes sense. She's not gonna drive like a really good car. She's gonna drive a cute little one. You know, like it makes sense. What do you want her to drive? What kind of car would you think she would drive? I do kind of like the mopeds though. The mopeds are honestly a little bit better when you want to go places that you can't fit a car through. But I like the car so much. I can't let it go. It's too cute. I have to use the car. When I got it, it was the best thing the game ever gave me. Like, I can drive this on a bridge. It's a little bit difficult. I can't spawn it while I'm on the bridge either. It's a little bit annoying. But you know what? I don't care. I think... Let me have a little think what else we need to do, because maybe we should have a look at... In fact, I need to get rid of these phone calls because they're like stacking up. What did she say? Some rare and beautiful birds are visiting the fishing village. No, I don't want to do that. Okay. We have a new reward. What is it for? Do I have a new reward? for? Oh. Oh, I have the socks. 25 stars. Let's go. Wait, that's so good. I need more stars. I didn't realize how important the star currency is. If you're using these stars to go and buy fireworks to sell to make money, please don't do that. You're gonna need them. You're gonna need them. You're gonna want them. You're definitely gonna want them. Bid info, can't do that. That's not gonna get finished. That's so annoying. Types of insects in your collection. Types of birds. Cook 10 smoked fish bagels. 5 cooked food. Place 5 cooked food. Oh, I can do that one easy. Let's go do that one now. Okay. Place 5 cooked food. I should have at least like 5 salads or something. So we can place that down at least. Oh yeah. Tony, do you like the bike? There's bikes in the game too. Are they worse or are they better? I can't tell if they're worse or better. Where's my house? Am I all the way over there? That's crazy. Just to put some food down. That's the bike that I want. Like, really want. I think the bikes are cuter than the mopeds though, because the bikes are like... They're like cottagecore, you know? It just makes sense. I have a letter. Who do I have a letter from? Oh! Thank you for submitting your home evaluation. The DG members feel confident about your homes. They can apply a home evaluation. We appreciate your continuous... Okay, so I got a cute little... I got a little clock. Nice. I didn't know you got things from doing that. I only did it for the quest. Nice. Okay. We need to place some food. I don't feel like just placing it nowhere. So let's try and actually put it somewhere so I don't have to go and edit. Oh wait, how do I... No, that's not how that works. Hang on, we have to go in here and do it. Okay, we do it by doing this. Nope. We do not. Kitchen. No. Toys? How do we do this? Oh, there we go. You just place like salads down in my house everywhere? Like, does that count? Or does it need to be different food? That's 4. And then one more up here. Okay. Hopefully that counts. If it's like 4 different foods and it has to be like certain type of food that's actually cooked and not salad, I will be very annoyed. Fine, we got it. What else can we do? Teach any one cat to learn free actions. That is going to take a long time. Reach level... Fishing level 2 and catch a seahorse. Fish tank. 3-star collection. 5 type of it. Oh my. I don't think we're going to be able to do these. I completed that one. Reach insect level 3 and catch 1 purple. These are so difficult. I'm not going to be able to do these. Not in like 10 minutes. Then 35 star points in the bird watching collection. Attract any bird using the bird perch. Scan birds on the bird perch to get info cards. Reach level guiding 3, have 6 letters and 2 stars or above. Oh, that's because this came out yesterday. I was like, I already done that, right? 3 cat costumes? How do I unlock 3? How long do you have to do these? Just 10 minutes. Will it end it? No, I'm ending in like roughly 10 minutes, so I don't really want to do any of them on stream and then be like, oh, we're half finished. I'm going to try and do them off stream when I end, because these end today, I think. Because we've unlocked day 14, because the game, I think, came out 14 days ago. So you want to push? Yeah, I just want to get them done so I can get the rewards, because you see this? This is a currency that I'm probably not really going to be able to get without doing stuff like this. And it's 80 of them. I might have 625. But I want more. And I want the little pinwheel thing, you know? But I'm not really too sure we're going to be able to do any of them. I might leave them. I might leave them instead of doing them on stream because I'm just going to stress. And you guys don't want to see me stressed. Hard time schedule. And literally, like, I've been playing the game the whole time and I didn't think to do them. Because every day one of them unlocks. And day 1, 2, 3 were easy. Hit 14's like really difficult. So I'm going to do as much as I can off stream. But, oh, we have a present. Oh, that's so cute. Duck family wall art. I love it. A little footprint. My God, this game's just too cute. I need to go get that. And anything else I need to do is just like sell things on Mushroom, I think. Is there anything else I haven't done today? We did oak. We did the fluorite. We got some truffle. Truffle only spawns like every 10 minutes, by the way. So like if you do something else while you're waiting for that to spawn, make sure you've planted all of this as well. Because you basically want to buy eggs, you want to plant wheat, and you want to go get truffle. And then you just like make bank. But what else can I do? I'm not really too sure, like, if I have, like... Oh, do I have any hobbies that needs, like, a kneeling dunks? Maybe we can do that before I end. Oh, we can upgrade this. Nice! No new content. Okay, we get fertilizer. Did I already have that from doing gardening? That's a little bit weird. Oh, we get, like, pet toys and stuff. Wait, that's cute. We can upgrade this one as well. We get more accessories. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I didn't realize these were upgradable. Oh my God, I've just been sitting on them. Free foods unlocked. Food quality 5. Cooking skill 2. Moderately reduces cooking difficulty. That's good. Increases the chance of high star food. That is also great. I didn't realize these needed to be upgraded. I've been sitting on them for too long. Oh my God. Maybe on Friday we need to go through and actually like try and get some of these up. Because the only thing I've been doing is cooking and gardening. A little bit of fishing, but I need to start doing some fishing so I can make fish and chips. Because they're actually good to sell too. But other than that, I don't think there's really much anything I can do. This guy's probably hungry, but... Let's see. He's probably hungry. No, he's not actually that hungry. We're not feeding you just yet. This guy's so greedy, and then this guy... This girl... She doesn't get hungry. You feed the cats in the game once a day, and they are fine. You feed the dogs once a day, and they're like, I hate you. I'm still hungry. Feed me more. I don't understand how a dog can get so hungry. They're literally the same size as well. Why are they like... Why did they make the dog so hungry all the time? And yet make this cat, like, not care one bit. The cat's like, you fed me today? Great. Dog's just complaining that you didn't feed it enough when I fed you 10 minutes ago. Do we have any badges yet? We don't have badges yet. I don't know when we get badges. This is also really annoying that I can't upgrade it yet. Oh, we might be able to get to this on Friday. If we don't get to this on Friday, which is like this like shop thing that upgrades the shops and stuff, then I should be on it for next week. So we shall see. I also, in fact, as the last thing for the stream, maybe we go and see Blank and go see if I could actually have more plots because I need to be able to make more food. I want to be able to plant more. And the game only gave me like 12 plots for planting stuff. I'm like, do you think that that's enough? Because I don't think that's enough. I need more. My food runs out so quickly. It's infuriating. Like, please give me some more. Wait, you're not Blank. Where is he? I don't know where he is. I still can't find my way around. Still can't find my way around. 2 weeks. I'm still getting lost. Like, I know where he is on the map. I just can't find him. You know? I can't find him. Okay. Do you have any? Please tell me you have them. Please tell me I can buy them. No. Level 7? That's crazy business. Level 7 to be able to unlock that is just not fair. Come on. Wait. Can I not buy these all now? I bought these like a week ago. These are a weekly thing. These reset every week. That's crazy. You can only buy like 25 of these a week. This is where you buy the flower bits from. These things. These are so cute. Wait, they're 80% off. You know you can catch me buying things when they're like 80% off. Perfect. I need to do it. I don't care how much money I just used. 80% off? You're kidding me right now. That is literally perfect. We got a new reward too. Oh, we got one of these as well. I love these furniture things. They're perfect. They're gonna go really well in my house when we fully do it because... Oh, you can't see that. Because these? Perfect. The aesthetic I'm going for. Like, they're all brown, like the perfect brown. They're gonna match the house perfectly. I love that. I love when a game has the perfect aesthetic. Everyone's trying to go after all the pink stuff, and I want all the brown stuff. It's actually kind of funny. I'm the only one that really seems to want anything that isn't pink. I'm pretty sure they gave me all the pink furniture on like day 1. It's kind of funny actually, because I got the thing everyone wants, and I don't even care about it. I want like the white furniture because I feel like that's gonna go the best. But the game, they did give me the green, you know? Can't lie, the game gave me the green. I have to be grateful for that. Let me snooze that ad. We don't want that ad. We don't want the ad. Sorry, Twitch, but... They're still building stuff. I hope they're having fun. They've been doing that for a while. But like, these houses are so cool. That bird is flying as fast as your car. There is a glitch in this game where like your dog or like an animal in the game will go crazy out of nowhere. This guy has done it a million times. I've been cooking in my house and this guy just like goes like this. And I don't know why. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know how he's doing it. I'm pretty sure it's just a bug. Because if my dog ran that quick, I'd be a little bit concerned. Be a little bit concerned. Okay. Give me just a second. It's either the bird is on steroids or your car is slow. I think the car's slow. Honestly, I think it is. I don't think it's the requick. I feel like the requick. Excuse me? Requick. Why do I sound like that? Why do I sound like that? Okay. Yeah, I feel like walking sometimes feels a bit quicker, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully there'll be like a little boost to the speed of cars, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I will probably be playing at some point tomorrow, so if on Friday I've done something else, you'll see, because I'm probably gonna add to this build, or I might have even changed it completely. And I'll probably have upgraded some of the hobbies as well, but we'll see. I might not even get a chance to play tomorrow because I think I need to get some clip stuff. No surprise going upstairs or over rough ground. Your engine must be knackered. I mean, if they let me do it, I'm gonna do it. You know? If they're gonna let me do that, why wouldn't I do it? They gave me the option. It's there, I'm gonna use it. But yeah, I will leave you guys there. And I don't think we're gonna raid today again. I don't feel like we're gonna raid today. We're gonna leave it on that. Um I will be, like I say, posting on like everything. So if you see me, I am sorry. I'm sorry if you see me everywhere. I apologize in advance. But I will be posting on all the socials. I'll let you guys know if anything is going to happen between now and Friday, but I should be completely fine. And we might be playing Palia, but I can't promise anything because I am loving this game so much that I want to play it while I'm loving it. So we might be playing Heartopia again. But I will see you guys on Friday, 4 p.m. as usual. And have a good rest of your week. And I will see you then.